Have you ever stayed on a houseboat before? Me neither up until this video. Let me take you aboard 3 gorgeous, thoughtfully made floating homes nestled in the picturesque marinas and harbors of Maryland. These luxurious floating hotels were created by an experiential floating home company appropriately named FLOHOM. I got the chance to speak to some of the great minds behind one of the most unique stays I've experienced to date, and I'll let them tell you more about why on-the-water living may be something you consider short-term or long-term.
If you're not going to come with somebody who's going to carry your luggage, don't be like me and bring your entire life. It's okay though. Oh, actually, I'm on the wood. Why am I still carrying? Okay. I'm with Brian Meyer. We are here. He is the co-founder of FLOHOM.
Yeah, I would define FLOHOM as a next generation hospitality company where we take a unique lodging asset like a houseboat and turn it in more into this on-water floating experience where it's designed forward, we curate the amenities, and we elevate the hospitality in a way that we create experiences for our guests, both that they can enjoy in the houseboat and also around the community as well. This whole journey started with my wife and I having been lucky and lived around the water my whole life, and my entrepreneurship journey started with creating a paddleboard company in Annapolis called Capital Sup with 2 of my friends. And so the idea always stuck with me, and then when COVID hit, we all got to stop what we were doing in our lives, and I just got inspired with my wife to just, let's give this a shot. And one phone call led to another, and ended up finding 2 awesome business partners, and now this is our 3rd FLOHOM. We have 3 more under construction, and we have plans to build many more, so it's very exciting.
Would you say that this is a floating home or a houseboat, and what is the difference?
It's a great question. So technically this is a houseboat.
We were wrong. Okay.
So although it might look like a home, it technically is a houseboat. It has propulsion. It is registered as a boat. It can move if we need to. Its intended use is to stay docked for the guest experience, the guest stays. Although we look more like a floating home, and there are houseboats that look more like boats, but at the end of the day, what is a boat? And it's just like we're kind of redefining what that even means.
Cool, because we were using it interchangeably.
We use it interchangeably too, because houseboat has historically a negative connotation, and so part of our brand building and building the company is to change people's perception about what a houseboat is. Our use is more to create more of a homey environment, so I naturally started talking about these as floating homes, and I guess the main thing is just being on the water, and that's what it's all about.
It floats.
The thing I always like talking about is FLOHOM, the brand, and what the experience is. I think our experience is what I like to do personally, which is I'm always connected, but I'm not too connected. I'm enjoying the moment and doing cool stuff like this outdoors while staying connected. Gotta have high-speed internet, everything's digital, because it's very intentional, everything we do and every little detail, from the communication with our guests to the design and to the experience we create for them. We want travelers that are visiting to come experience this, but it really is for the person that lives across the water there or down the street that can get away and escape the grind of life and whatever's going on in their lives and come into our very curated environment. We have yoga mats inside, big proponents of yoga, meditation. People can actually book private yoga teachers and meditation teachers and massage to come here on the boat. Have a massage right on the top deck. So it comes back to the elevated hospitality concept, where some of the great new boutique hotels, short-term rentals, vacation rentals, the next generation is experiential hospitality. What we're really passionate about in positioning as well.
And I think that definitely shows the app itself and the check-in experience. You guys are very detailed oriented about what things to do nearby, how far away they are, the addresses. You even have a playlist for the FLOHOMs, which we were listening to earlier. So thoughtful.
Well, music is really big for me. Integrates you into nature and outdoors. But if you want to turn off everything and sit out here, you can certainly do that.
Absolutely, but I will not be doing that. I am the same. Well, thank you for talking with me, and I appreciate you letting me see this one. I'm excited to see FLOHOM 1 and 2 as well. Those are bigger models. Now I'll be showing you guys a lot of the awesome details that they have there as well. But thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
I am currently on the rooftop of FLOHOM 3. I'm gonna go ahead and get the whole rooftop set up so you guys can see it in all of its beauty. And as you can see, the sun is gonna start setting pretty soon. And I'm very, very excited to see this view. We are finally done for the day shooting content for FLOHOM 3, but we're starving, so we're gonna go eat. Where are we going to eat again? I forget the name of it.
The Point Crab House and Grill.
And it's literally like right there. We're just walking. So about to have some delicious food. I want crab cakes. If they don't have crab cakes, I'm gonna be furious.
When in Maryland.
I said all of that just to not get crab cake for dinner, but what I did get was actually really tasty. We both got cream of crab soups.
We did. It looks so good.
Yum, yum. Okay, do you see that lump? Like, that is fully crab. You're getting so much crab for every bite. So good and so creamy and so worth it. We are in for the night and just showing you all that there are blinds, privacy blinds, every single window, because I get that question a lot. Before calling it a night, of course, we had to indulge in some reading and enjoying the rooftop fireplace. What a great touch. It is the next morning, but we are on our way to Annapolis.
Yes.
Annapolis. And now we're going to go to FLOHOM 2 after Annapolis and working in a cafe.
Annapolis is kind of, they call it the sailboat capital of the world. So Annapolis is probably one of the best boating, even though it lies on the Chesapeake, but there's so many different cool places in Annapolis that, that you can boat around, right? Even outside of the Chesapeake Bay, the Second River, the South River, West River, all these other little rivers that connects to the Chesapeake.
We are on our way to Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a little over 30 minutes away from where we just were, and we are on our way to the Baltimore Peninsula, which is where FLOHOM 2 will be.
Is it a barge?
It's a military ship, and it's more for transporting.
Hi everyone, so I am with the other co-founder, Selly, here. So hi Selly, thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. So what was your inspiration for wanting to create a houseboat company?
So me and my wife, we've actually been in the marina space for 25 years. So we own a marina in Annapolis, and we're probably the only Black-owned marina in the country. We sat down and we talked about, what if we do this like community and call it Houseboat Grow? And we can rent them out to people that will come in short-term, long-term, because back then there was no Airbnb.
Oh yeah, so you had this idea for a while then.
When we developed our marina, we built 3 townhouses on the marina. And we found that it made more sense for us to fully furnish those townhouses and rent them out short term. And this was before Airbnb and VRBO, and I wish I could really thought about that, because I would like to be in the right?
Gotcha.
Right, we was like, wow, if we take this same concept that we were doing 2004, 2005, so this is almost 18, 19 years ago, almost 20 years ago. And we said, wow, we can take this concept what we're doing on land, and we can put this same concept on the water, and it's right next, it's literally right next door to our marina.
And you were in a really good place because you had quite literally the real estate, land and water to be able to do something like houseboats.
Right.
So from a young age, have you always been interested in boating or marinas? Like, what's your experience like on the water?
Well, tell this story all the time. I was raised in public housing. I'm the youngest of 7 kids. But in saying that, my dad always had a boat. He had a boat. It was on a trailer. It was a 19-foot boat. He kept it out front of the house. And when the summer came, we were out on the water. 4 boys, 3 girls, all the boys, so we stayed on the water. So I guess it's always been in me about the water. Even though we lived in public housing, we had access to the water. Not knowing that I was going to own a marina. It didn't just happen, you know. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been in business 35 years. It was a black-owned marina before I bought it. They started the business in 1942.
So they decided to basically like grandfather it to you.
It wasn't grandfather, I had to buy it.
Of course.
So yeah, no grandfather, right? That's grandfather. That's a whole different story. Yeah, I wish it was grandfather. So we started to do our homework on floating structures or houseboats. Now, of course, even back then, you always see pretty pictures of floating homes and all that, and majority of them at the time was in Europe, right? Because they've been doing it for years, right? So we say, of course, that's not going to work for us here, and we knew that they also were doing it in Sausalito and Seattle. You would see houseboats and things like that. Well, they weren't real houseboats; they were basically floating homes that they put on the water. We said we need to look for a houseboat that has a floating home feel. And ultimately, we found out that there was no product that we could put our name behind, right? Because we created this beautiful boutique marina, but we couldn't find that in a boat, right? And if we were going to put our name on it and put a product over there,
it needed to match your
it had to match
brand.
our personal brand. So long story short, we fold up the plan.
So you decided to not pursue that plan.
Right.
And when did that become revived, and how did that come to FLOHOM?
About 3 years ago, I had this guy call me, and he said he was calling, from a nonprofit organization. I was like, oh, sure, come on out. I'd love to meet with you and talk to you. He was doing work in the community, helping people in public housing, teaching them how to swim and all that. And we were just discussing that. And I don't know how the conversation came about, but he didn't know I was the owner of the marina. And when he found out I was the owner of the marina, it kind of changed his whole pitch. He said, I came up with this cool concept about this floating hospitality company. Call it FLOHOM. So, I just started asking questions, and it really boiled down to because I had already thought about this 15 years ago. So I really knew exactly what to ask because I knew exactly what I was looking for. One of the first questions I asked, because I made a promise to myself years ago that I'm not going to get involved in anything unless it has some scalability to it. I'm looking for scale.
It's a business.
Right. So I have a great friend. I've been knowing him 35 years. His name is Jerry South. He's our other partner. Jerry owned a company called Cal Park. It's a parking valet. And Jerry grew the company to 14,000 employees, about $500 million in revenue. Me and Jerry always had a great relationship. I knew his ability to even add more value, scale, and a lot of the things that he could add to complement. And also he's a boater. He loves the water, all those different things. So I told Brian, it's somebody that if we're going to do this, it's somebody I want to
be on the team.
I got to be on the team.
Because you're only as good as the team that you have. I feel like anyone who's on your team, they need to be extremely good at what they do.
Yep.
Even if you have the capacity to do their job, they should be able to do it better than you.
Yeah.
And that's how y'all make each other better together.
That's right. Long story short, that's how I feel about it.
After having such great stays on FLOHOMs 3 and 2, I finally arrived to the biggest and arguably my favorite FLOHOM, and I got to also sit down with the person behind a lot of the design, interior and exterior, of what makes these luxurious houseboats so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today, Pierre. I had been talking to both Brian, both Sally, your husband, and everyone's like, okay, but she's the reason why it's aesthetic. So I had to come and meet you. So thank you for sitting down with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Bonnie.
What would you say your role is within FLOHOM?
So I am the creative. I help the interior design and the overall exterior aesthetic. And it's just a passion and a gift.
Well, I mean, clearly it's a gift because as soon as I walked in, I was like, this is so serene. Let me just
Came in
stop
and
for a second.
Yeah, just breathe. Yeah.
It's beautiful. But what was your thought process behind the design for this specific FLOHOM?
FLOHOM. This one has more of a nautical aesthetic. This was actually the first, pretty much it was the largest one. And I put not all, but I paid a lot of attention to everything that I picked out. I spent a lot of time just curating items and figuring out design, and this is what we
Came up with.
Yeah.
Since this is your child, the first ever FLOHOM, what space within FLOHOM is your favorite and why?
I would have to say the rooftop. It's the place where you go and chill, and the view is amazing at night, early mornings, the sunset, the sunrise.
And I can see, like, just based on your aura, this makes sense. A lot of thoughtful little seating areas.
Yeah.
And I was asking Brian, do you guys ever host events? He's like, yeah, you totally can, because it gives so many conversation pits, but space to do the yoga mats and things. He was saying I could get a massage on the rooftop. I was like, I might have to dabble in that a little bit. I have scoliosis. And then were you the one who thought about that brand? Is it Outer?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was it. Yes. Brian and I, we worked on that together. It's a new company, and they have very good furniture for outdoors. It's teak, and the quality of the cushions is very good for outdoors. They have this whole system where you can cover, the cushions, to keep them clean when people aren't using them, and just cover. So it's just a great product. It has been a collaborative effort with all of us. My husband, Brian, Jerry, and myself. We've all worked together to make these beautiful boats.
And I can see that though, after meeting all of you except for Jerry, you all have a fundamental role in what makes this happen. From an outsider looking in, Brian is what people on the water would like activities, the experiential
He's the waterman.
And then you are interior and exterior design, absolutely stunning. And then Sally is more on the structural aspects of it, the marina, figuring out what's the best one to go to. And I think that is so cool how you all are always bouncing off of each other, and whatever projects you're on, maybe somebody takes lead on one thing or vice versa. So I could definitely tell.
We defer to one another. You have questions, and just it's a great team. Great team. And it's all about teamwork.
So do you have any aspirations for FLOHOM, specifically with the design element? Would you ever go beyond the rectangular modular style?
I would love to. We would love to create different designs, and it will come in time. And as far as designing, I just started my company, which is Pure View Design, and I'm hoping that it'll go a little farther than just with boats.
Did you help with the townhomes in you and Sally's?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
I did. That's where I really started. When we were developing, I would go in and I would work with the architect, and then I would just go in and decide, do my thing. Just do my thing. I love it.
Oh, I can tell. Every time we start talking about design elements and the process, your eyes literally light up. And I'm like, okay, so she's found what she wants to be doing with her life. And I'm like, that's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And it's just a really good reminder that everything comes with time.
Everything does come with time.
Because I can tell that you're also an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you had challenges along the way, and you're still going to encounter them going forward. But you were able to do all of this from all of those experiences. And that's a really good reminder for me as a young entrepreneur.
To what you're saying, when I was your age, I felt the same way. It's what am I going to do with my life? Even up to when I had my children, just raising them, it was is this it? Is my purpose just to have a family and raise my children and, be a helpmate to my husband? And it finally has come to fruition where I'm this is it. This is what, I've gotten my kids off to school, and they're on their way, and this is my passion. This is it. And I love it.
I don't need getting all warm and fuzzy on this side. I just love when people are I'm happy, I'm where I need to be, and there's more to come.
More to come.
I know that there are other modular community-focused organizations as well, but for this one, are you all going to sell construction plans and blueprints, or are you only going to sell them as the finished product themselves?
So I'm gonna give you a little secret sauce to this whole industry as a whole. Anybody with any skill set, construction, capability, finance can build these, right? Could we sell plans? Yes, we could sell plans.
Right.
We're not the only person that's doing this, right? Other people are doing it. Here's the IP to this whole thing, is scale. So if you go to any builder today to say, hey, you know, can you build me these? You a customer. They're going to tell you, okay, yeah, we'll build it, but it'll take a year to 18 months. Right?
And I'm guessing y'all can do it a lot quicker.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So our IP is scale and production. Where we right now we're developing a plan to build at least 5 of these every 30 days. This is it. Yeah, we'll get the scale and we'll start building them, and we'll make that decision on retail demand versus placing them out our own portfolio. For every 5 that we build, we may place 4 into our own portfolio and sell 1. Sell 2. We might place all 5 of them. One of the biggest things for me, honestly, is access. And you heard my story, right? It was only because my dad loved the water and we had a boat. We lived in public housing, right? So we had access to the water because we could put our boat in the water, go to the ramp. But there's so many people in the world who don't have access to water. Not because they don't want to go to the water, they don't have access because the majority of the water is privatized. You look at this big development here, it's all privately owned. Yeah, you can show up here and maybe walk around and whatever, but it's not publicly owned, right? So with this, if you look at the marina industry as a whole has been dominated by people that don't look like you and me. Right? And I'm just keeping it real. You know, you go to a marina, wherever, South Beach, wherever it's at, and you walk out there, you see all the yachts and the boats and all that, and you look at the owners and the people that's all around enjoying the amenities. They don't look like me and you, right? And they don't look like people who, because it don't have to be like, they normally wouldn't have any access to the water, right? So they could be white, you know what I mean? They could be women, they could be whatever, but they don't really have access because they don't own a boat. They're not part of the yacht club, right? This right here, to me, it gives all those people the ability to access and enjoy waterfront, living, rental, all that, right? Here's the best part about it. People are constantly moving, transitioning, right? 5 years, you're in, let's say you're in Myrtle Beach, 5 years on it, staying, enjoying your life, no property taxes, right? You're paying your slip fee, but you know, you're enjoying all the amenities of the marina, swimming pool, tennis court, free Wi-Fi, everything that they have, right? Because those come along with renting the slip. 5 years from now, oh, I'm tired of Myrtle Beach. I think I'm gonna move to Seattle.
Oh, you can take it with you.
You haul it out the water, you ship it. There's a cost, just like it would be a cost to move it, right? Might be a little more, but ultimately you move it to your next destination, right? So I'm big on that because that's one of the things in my development. Me and my wife, we always talked about, you know, building in affordable housing. We believe that this is going to be that affordable housing market for those who want to take advantage of it. If you look at our rental list and the people who have been renting these units out, majority of them look like you and me.
And I noticed that, like, and you guys just started your social media. So for me to be able to deduce that from your social media, well, you guys just started, first of all, what was it, like June? Like actually actually the first one docked and people can experience it. That like opened up my eyes. Like a lot of people who look like us want access to exactly what you're talking about.
Cut you off. It's not that they don't know how, they didn't have the ability to do it.
Yeah.
Unless you bought a boat.
And who's buying a boat if you aren't actually an avid like
I haven't boater.
Yeah.
Right? You like that waterfront, you walk past the rusty stucco, or you walk past one of you like, man, I would love to be down there, right? Unless you own a boat.
Right.
You know,
or know somebody who knows a boat. There's like an ongoing joke, just being like fully transparent, especially within like my generation.
Right.
Every summer, everyone's like, make sure you go on your white friend's boat so you can have lake access. That speaks volumes.
That speaks volumes
about exactly what you're talking about, like accessibility. And I also think it's amazing that organically, even if, because I wouldn't say you marketed to like Black people specifically.
No.
It's just the fact that it organically was able to cater to that crowd and also other people who probably have access to it. They just want to experience it in a different way. It speaks volumes of like your company's mission without having to market it that way.
Without having to market that way, because that's what happened. I mean, they looked at it, they say, wow, here's my time.
Right.
Here's my time.
That was
right? For whatever reason, right?
Right.
There's so many different reasons. All those reasons are great reasons. This is a time for me to enjoy myself and enjoy that place. So for me, that's like one of the most gratifying things that I see in all this.
Like Sally said, now's your time. Your time to try something new, your time to find ways to experience things you might not have ever considered exploring. Baltimore was so good to me, and these strangers turned friends and maybe mentors are a big reason why. I'll share a direct link to FLOHOM in my description box, and I hope you all try this unforgettable experience that they provide if you're able to. But I did want to take a moment and say that I'm very aware that this is not my usual content. However, I want to share more about what I do in my life. I believe that access and representation is everything. To my younger audience, I implore you to learn from those around you, to soak in the world and try new things because your experiences make you. They influence the way you think and the way you carry yourself, so make sure you make them count.